Hello, my name is Taylor. I'm a financial coach, and I've been using Monarch Money with my clients and personally for the last couple years. I have helped hundreds of clients implement their budgeting system in Monarch Money. So I want to record this video on the little features, the settings, the little tips and tricks that might make your Monarch experience just a little better. So let's dive into it. We'll start with the account page. This is the net worth page. This is where you're connecting all of your accounts so that Monarch can easily track the balances and the transactions automatically. So something to just be aware of is that you can toggle around your net worth. You can see your full net worth, or you can see a breakdown of maybe just the change in your assets, investments, the real estate, or the credit cards. And you can really see, well, how is my debt payoff going? Are we seeing that downward trend? You can change the date feature to also get an idea of how this is looking for you. So this is very customizable to the view that's important to you. The other thing to be aware of is when you add your accounts, you do have multiple options for connections. So if the standard connections don't work, you have options to try MX or Finicity. The other option is Plaid. That's usually what you find up here, but they can vary. Just being aware that you have multiple ways to connect your accounts. If Plaid doesn't work, try MX, try Finicity. These are your first steps in seeing if you can get your accounts to connect properly. Most people, once they've tried all three of these, can find good connections. But if you can't, you can always request a new connection. If you can't find any of these working, then you definitely want to reach out to Monarch support to see if it might be possible in the future. The other thing to be aware of is this: you can do manual accounts. And manual accounts are going to be really useful when you can't get your accounts connected, but you don't really need transaction data. You just really want to see it for the net worth picture. Or if like Zillow is all over the place with the property value expectations, or the car values are way off from what you're expecting, absolutely do a manual account. That's what they're for if you want to not use one of the syncing platforms in Monarch. Other things to be aware of in the account page is the ability to rename your accounts. If you click on any account and you click on edit, there's tons of settings here for you to customize your setup. You can rename them, delete them, close them, hide them from the balance. On your net worth page, you can also move them around within their group. So you can't move investments to cash, but you can move your investments around to be in the order that makes sense for you. Now, once you've had your account connected, the other thing you may want to do is use the new Amazon Sync. Monarch does have a Google extension where you can connect your Monarch to your Amazon account, and it will actually pull in the data from your Amazon account to try to categorize your stuff, but also leave notes about what you bought inside Monarch automatically. So you're not scrambling to figure out what the heck all these Amazon purchases are. If you haven't set that up, there's usually a pop-up in your Monarch just right now. There's usually some kind of pop-up here, or even right here saying, hey, there's a new Monarch extension. Go ahead and click on that. If you click on an Amazon purchase, you might also see the sync order details. Click on that. You're going to get instructions to how to do the Google Chrome extension, but also you can just Google Monarch Money Amazon extension, and it will take you right to this page with all the things that you need to know and how to get that set up. What it's going to look like once you get that set up is just like this. You're going to see a tag that says, hey, it's the retail sync, like your transaction has been touched by this sync, the Google extension, but it also leaves a little note in here telling you what you bought. There's a little bit more detail, what the price was, and if there's more, you can easily then see what the taxes were, right? This is $34.99. I paid $37, so I can see that was the rest of it was taxes. So that's what it looks like once you've gotten that situated, and it does happen fairly automatically. You might have to resync every now and then. You can set it up to sync every 24 hours, but you may have to also trigger the sync, which is totally fine. So absolutely get that set up if you're a big Amazon user. I do believe more retails are coming to do the same thing. So keep an eye out for even more detail from other merchants in the future. Going back to the accounts page, just a few more things you should be aware of. If your accounts are not syncing, you don't have all your transactions, make sure you press this refresh button. It does actually do wonders, especially if it's been the weekend and you just want to make sure you're getting all of your stuff in. Absolutely utilize this button. The other thing is, if you've tried multiple different types of connections trying to get your accounts to sync, maybe it got disconnected, maybe you had a card lost to fraud, so you had to add a new account, you may end up with duplicate accounts. You may end up with the old account that you've been categorizing and the new account that is now syncing properly. If that is the case, you're going to click on the duplicate account. So we would pick one that I would deem as the duplicate. This is the old one, we'd say, or the new one, either one. You click on one of the duplicate accounts, you'll click on edit and transfer data. This will help you merge the two accounts together. And you can see in this diagram here, it's going to walk you through exactly what it's going to do. It's going to take the old account, take the new account that's now syncing and the now we want. It's going to figure out when that overlapping date is, at what point we want to cut off and make sure we get rid of duplicate transactions, right? We don't want any overlapping duplicate transactions, so we cut those off. They get removed, they get deleted. And then finally, the accounts merge together so that you have just one account with all of the transaction data and the balance history and everything. They walk you through a step by step how to set up this transfer. You would just click the old card and then the new card. These would be the same cards. Don't do what I'm doing here. This is just a demo account, but you click on the two cards that you're trying to duplicate, the old versus the new, and you'll walk through each of these steps to help you move all of that balance and that data. So that's what it looks like. That's a really common issue for a lot of folks that have, again, new connections, trying new connection statuses. And one more note here on the account page is that you can add your Venmo account. Just as a reminder for people who don't know, you can add your Venmo account, then you actually see the person's name in the transactions. That can be helpful if you're using Venmo often. All right, I'm going to skip down to reports for a couple features here. So one, if you're not playing with reports, you are missing out. Please make sure you're in here messing with reports, playing with all the buttons, the different features, all the filters that you have access to get the reports that you need. This is the what I deem is the most valuable part of Monarch, and if you're not using it, then you are not going to have the best setup you could possibly have for yourself. The way your reporting is done is going to help you indicate how you want to categorize things, how you want to use tags, and all of that. So spend time here. Absolutely. The one thing to be aware of if you run a spend report on any category, maybe one category, maybe group categories. In this case, I wanted to just see what my food budget is. Once I press apply, I'm looking at this change over time for this year, and it will give me a trend line as well as an average for any of those categories. That can be really useful. You can also save your reports right here. So this is a report I want to come back to often. I would click on save and save this report, and I can come back to it with a click of a button. Also remember, you can download the CSV file of all of these transactions. So this is great for tax time if you wanted to run a filtered report on the tag for business. You can do that. You can download the CSV and send that off to your accountant. You'll get a detailed report of all your transactions. Let's skip to some of the settings that you need to be aware of. If you go to your settings icon, that's the gear icon here, or you can do it at the bottom by clicking on your name, and there's the settings right here. Multiple ways to get to your settings. Here you can change your profile picture. If you want this number to change, or the name or the image, absolutely change that right here in the profile. Make sure you're updating your notifications to be more customized to you. You can decide if you want push notifications or not. There can be a lot, so make sure you get this all customized for you. You can also make sure you add your household members. So if your spouse wants access, they can have their own account. You'll click on add household member here. You can give access to a financial professional. So like if you're working with a financial coach, this is where you would add me temporarily to your account, and I can take a look and help you get all set up. These preferences are awesome. So this one is actually one that I'm really enjoying quite a bit, is mark new transactions as needs review. The reason why is this needs review section is actually really useful in the transaction page. If you click on this and select any, like what transactions need review, it's a little to-do list here for you. I'll show you one on this side. It's saying, hey, you need to review this. Once you've reviewed it, categorize it, put notes, you can click on this and it'll mark it as reviewed. This is super helpful with the app. And your dashboard. You can set your dashboard up to only show you transactions that need review rather than all transactions, just the ones that need review. And if that's all new transactions, that means you're never missing a transaction. You make sure everything is getting categorized. So if you really like to be on top of these things, you're going to want to turn that setting on. And again, that setting is in preferences in the mark new transactions as needs review. It's especially useful on the mobile app because that mobile feature of being able to swipe left and right and change your categories is super, super awesome. So that's a really good one if you are wanting to make sure everything gets categorized correctly. These other settings is allow pending transactions. So if there is a little grayed out letter P right here, it's pending and it might not let you change the category. You can turn this on. There are some issues though. Sometimes it reverts back, so just be aware of it. This last one is investment transactions. If you're not getting investment transactions, you can try to turn this on and see if you do get investment transactions, or if you don't want them, you could also turn it off. So that's where you're going to find that data for investing transactions. Just to be aware of a couple more things, you can change add merchants, change the image. If you like it to be more aesthetically pleasing, you can really customize your merchant page so that they show up nice and pretty. On this side, you actually get the cute little icons. You have control over that. You can edit that. So that's in the merchant side. You can, of course, review all the rules that you've set, search for the rules. So if there's a rule that's being a little funky and not going in the right place, you might want to search for it and make sure it's set up correctly. Finally, you also have access to all your data where you can download everything. If you were to move your budgeting app or you just want to back up, this is where you would back up this data. Let's jump to the transaction page. So a couple things to be aware of on the transaction page. This is where you are categorizing your transactions. Be aware that you can absolutely change the merchant name. This is absolutely okay to change the merchant name, and you can create a new merchant. So absolutely you can edit this. You don't have to, but you can. You can create a new category from right here. So that's just something to be aware of. You can split your transactions. If you have something that's going to multiple places, you can absolutely split it and put it into multiple places, and you can do it by percentage. So if you're like, hey, when I go to Costco, about 80% of the stuff is groceries, you can just split it that way rather than being super specific about it. You can absolutely be a little bit more, less granular. This needs review by puts it into that review category that we talked about, and you can assign it to anyone in your household or just let anyone review it or someone specific, and it goes right back into that bucket where you can have a little to-do list for yourself to say, hey, these are things I want to look over, review. You can also filter in the transaction place. So you can filter here for accounts, tags, and categories, and whatever you'd like here. That button's not working for me right now. And then if I go to budget, budget is a couple settings I want to review with you. So first off, there is a whole setting just for budgets. It's not your regular setting. It is just your budget settings. If you click on this, this is where you're going to toggle between flex and category. But this one is an area that I love, love, love. If you are getting annoyed by that button that says apply to all future months every time you change your budget, you can turn this off so it's not the default. You can go into your settings and click on by default this month only when you change the budget. This is a big one, absolutely, if that button has bothered you in the past. If you are new to budgeting, I really recommend doing your start setup here and go through the budget walkthrough. That's where you're going to pick whether you're going to do category or flex, and it will walk you through how to make sure everything is set up correctly, how to create your budget and everything. So I really recommend starting there if you haven't tried that yet. Remember, you have the access to see past transactions and averages for all of your transactions. This little tick mark, if you've ever noticed it, is where we're at in the month versus where your budget is. And so that's really great for like your food budget, right? If your food budget is, let's say $2,000. This is where we're at in the month, and this is how you're trending on your budget. So you can see you're trending a little quickly. It's indicating to you, hey, you might want to slow down in order to stick to your budgeting goals. If you are budgeting by category and you don't want to be really in the weeds, remember that you have the option to budget by group or by category. So you have this option to budget by category and set a budget for every single line item. But if you don't want to be that specific, if you click on this gear icon for the group food and dining, you can change this group to be budgeted by group instead of by category. If you do that, then you're putting a number here and saying, hey, I just want to send about $2,500 a month on food, and I don't care about where the food is spent, just as long as it's under 25. And this allows you for greater flexibility within each of your category budgetings. And one more little trick here is that in the budget, if you have something big that came out, like a big expense, hey, you didn't plan for all the shopping, it's out of your budget, something to be aware of is that you can actually pull money from your goals. So it's not really a official way, I don't think, to pull money from your goals, but I just want to point this out. So if you have a goal and you have an emergency fund, let's say an emergency happens, right? And you need to pull from this emergency fund in order to pay for, your furnace breaking or something. You might have done that transaction. You might have logged into your bank and submitted $1,000 to be transferred from your savings, your emergency fund to your checking account. If you've done that, you might want to attach that to your goal because you're saying, hey, I'm going against my goal. This is a transaction that is moving me away from my goal. So you absolutely want to track that so that you're aware of your goal progress. But something you can do is you'll notice that there's a negative $1,000 here because it's saying, hey, you've removed money out of your goal. You can do the same thing in the budget. You can put a negative 1,000. There's a little tiny little negative minus sign right here. If you do that, it's going to put money back into your budget so that you can actually put that toward now the things that you overspent on. So if I needed to use that $1,000 towards some unexpected expenses that came from my emergency fund, I can now apply that to my budget. It's not an official way to release funds from your goal, but it absolutely works if something big has come up. Last couple things is this recurring page. There is this ability to pull your bills directly from your credit report. That means if a bill does not hit your credit report, it will not show up on the bill sync. It will show up on everything else, all your other recurring. It'll absolutely be there. But for if you want something to be synced, you can set that up so that you can actually see your bill dates, when they're due, your minimum payment, and all of that stuff. So again, it's only stuff that actually hits your credit report. Everything else would just be manually entered. You can absolutely enter in your utilities and everything, but it'd be a little bit more manual. Then right here, if you click on demo user and then you click on, oops, my bad, if you click on help and support, there is a feature request here. This is where you can see all of their upcoming features, all the requests, what's in progress. Absolutely engage in this. Figure out things that you would like and vote for things. This is how they're getting feedback from the users. And I think there's a little perk here. I noticed that with the Amazon extension, people who actually voted for it and said that it was a critical thing for their system, they got access almost like a couple weeks before everyone else. So absolutely, you get to be one of the beta testers, I think. Maybe that's not how it works, but that's how it seemed to work with the Amazon thing. So make sure you engage in this. Actually talk about what you're looking for and what you would like to see here. I hope you found a couple of these tips, these small little buttons that sometimes can get overlooked, helpful. I hope you found something that was worthwhile to you. Let me know in the comments anything that you did find helpful or you maybe didn't know about before. I'd love to hear it. Or if you have any tips that you're aware of that have really changed your perception or your process with Monarch, absolutely, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to get that shared. So thank you so much.